All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, I don't have a particular topic, I'm just going to go into various news articles. So, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And this is an article I saw yesterday about this nurse over in Britain. She was pretty much murdering babies. So I'm just going to go into this article first. So again, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point.
CARE. It's education's little-known currency. At Ultimate Medical Academy, our transformative support has served over 75,000 alumni, online and on campus.
This interview could open doors for you,
propelling them towards a career in one of 18 healthcare programs. That's care for the whole student and who they will care for. Because when you can't help but care, the world can't help but notice. Ultimate Medical Academy. Care pays back. Visit ultimatemedical.edu to enroll today.
Hello, Lucy, is it?
Yes.
Hello, my name's Chester, please. Please step in 2 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
She was a nurse trusted to care, who chose to kill. Arrested at her suburban home, everything about Lucy Letby seemed normal. But that's exactly what she used to cover the truth, that she's a murderer who attacked her victims as they desperately clung to life, and now the UK's most prolific baby serial killer.
Lucy Letby had a position of trust, and the baby's parents in this case have put their trust in her and others to look after their child, to their baby, and Lucy Letby has abused that trust on an unimaginable level.
This is where Letby began her murderous campaign in June 2015. Over a year she attacked babies, some by injecting air into their bloodstreams or stomachs, which killed 7 newborns. She attacked her other victims by dislodging their breathing tubes or poisoning them with insulin, something she used on a baby known in court as Baby L, whose twin brother, known as Baby M, was also attacked. She injected him with air, which caused his heart to stop, something his parents say they'll never forget.
When I went down, I saw doctors around the trolley and they're just pumping his heart like a rag doll, really. He was just like a doll, and they were just going like that, to the chest. They were prescribing medication and they were ready to give up after 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden, Baby M just came back to life out of nowhere. And by the grace of God, he's okay today.
What has Lucy Letby taken from your family?
She took everything. Our joy, happiness.
I'm not the same person I was before.
As a neonatal nurse, Letby operated in plain sight, but it didn't go unnoticed. 4 consultants at the unit raised their concerns to hospital bosses when they realised every time a baby inexplicably died, there was an explanation, that Letby was always on shift.
It's regrettable that we had to wait for that accumulation of deaths to realise something bad was happening. But although some concerns were raised early on, from my personal point of view, I felt that perhaps Lucy Letby had just been unlucky in being the nurse looking after some of the babies who died. That concern and feeling sorry for her changed when the pattern of deaths continued and she continued to be associated with them.
But more than a year later, by July 2016, hospital bosses finally involved the police, and after a 2-year investigation, Letby was arrested in 2018. When officers searched her home, they found a post-it note where she wrote, "I'm evil, I did this," and a diary where she marked the date of her attacks with the initials of her victims, but Letby never admitted her guilt.
They told me that there had been a lot more deaths and that I'd been linked to somebody that was there for a lot of them.
Did you have any concerns that there was a rise in the mortality rate?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about that. What concerns did you have?
I think we'd all just noticed as a team in general, the nursing staff, that this was a rise compared to previous previous years.
And that was what she professed throughout the 9-month trial, where she calmly sat in the dock, but at times broke down when describing how this has affected her life, telling, the prosecution said, that she never cried for her victims, whose parents should have believed their babies were in the safest place, in the hands of a nurse whose job was to protect them from harm. But she betrayed those who dangerously depended on her, babies who had no chance to fight back.
And as you can see, this woman, she murdered 7 babies and attempted to murder 6 more, and just in case, you Israelites need a reminder that the so-called white man and white woman aren't your friends, this is an example. Now, even though I'm pretty sure she murdered so-called white babies, still, so-called white people, which is the nation of Edom, so-called Edomite, or not so-called, but the Edomites, they're wicked. This is what they do, So, before I bring that out, I'm going to go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35. And I'm going to start at verse 5. And it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time of their iniquity had an end. It's like in the time that their iniquity had an end. This is the point I wanted to get. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And yes, Esau Edom, he is a bloody man. It's, violence is pretty much in this man's nature. This is what they do. They pretty much kill for sport. Just like, Esau has a perpetual hatred, for the nation of Israel, going back to, the book of Genesis, chapter 27, when he was supplanted out of his blessing, pretty much, he's always had a perpetual hatred for his brother Jacob, and that stems down to, the nation of Edom today and the 12 tribes. This man hates us, but also, he's a bloody man. Violence is in his heart, Let me see. Slocky and bear with me. Says, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 58, and verse 2. And it says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, So, of course, a baby Edomite isn't just going to come out the womb speaking lies, but, they're liars, They are liars, and they're violent, So, it's pretty much all I wanted to get on that. Then there's next article, I want to grab. I saw that was interesting. It's from the New York Times, and it says 10 California officers face corruption charges in FBI inquiry. And it says the arrest came after a 2-year investigation that uncovered evidence that officers in 2 Bay Area cities who also faced civil rights charges, had to act as though they were above the law, a prosecutor said. It says 10 local police officers in Northern California were arrested and charged on Thursday after a series of FBI raids stemmed from a 2-year investigation that the authorities said had uncovered a raft of crimes, including falsifying records to receive raises, illegally distributing drugs, and improperly deploying dogs that harmed residents. The officers worked at the Antioch and Pittsburgh police departments in the Bay Area, where Ismail Ramsey, the U.S. attorney for California's Northern District, said in a news conference that the officers had acted as though they were above the law. And pretty much this is the mentality of Esau Edom. He thinks he is above the law, because this is their kingdom, They pretty much do what they want and get a slap on the wrist at the end of the day, which I'm going to bring that out, Says prosecutors painted a picture on Thursday of 2 police departments in deep disarray, with officers skirting accountability by destroying records and not wearing body cameras, actions that officials described as dishonest and dangerous. Officers from both departments face maximum sentences of 10 to 20 years in prisons and $250,000 fines. Like, come on, man. 10 to 20 years, and that's it. That just goes to show you that this man is a hypocrite, Now, there's no telling if they disclose those particular officers' nationalities, but if they're Edomites, that's why they're only getting such a short time. If they were Israelites, they would give them life. It says this will go down in history as one of the darkest moments in the city. Lamar A. Thorpe, the mayor of Antioch, said in an interview Mr. Thorpe was himself a target of some of his officers' antagonism. Some said in text messages obtained by the FBI during its investigation that they wanted to shoot him, he said. The Antioch Police Officers Association said in a statement that it looked forward to seeing the legal process play out, that it was committed to still providing quality service to the citizens of Antioch and also providing support for our members who are still working through this difficult time. The police department in Pittsburgh, which abuts Antioch, did not immediately respond to calls seeking comment on Thursday. So yeah, man, these guys, they're it's just like those officers down in Mississippi, called themselves the Mississippi Goon Squad, that pretty much tortured, those 2 Jakes, that tortured them, that, violated them sexually. They, one of them was shot, and then they're pretty much trying to, give those guys a slap on the wrist, because again, those small towns in Mississippi or in the South in general, they're pretty much, they're like a brother said, they're all Klansmen. So, they're not going to prosecute one another. And then also, it was another story about, 2 guys that shot at, a FedEx delivery driver. The man's just trying to do his job and they shot at him. And now it's getting a mistrial, man. So, Esau, and this is his system. This man is wicked, and there's reasons like this why he has to go. I'm going to go to the book of Micah, chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1, and it says, woe to oppressors. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. because it is in the power of their hands. So yes, Esau Edom pretty much has the power to do whatever he wants. Again, this is his system. This is his kingdom, So pretty much he allows his people to, get away with certain things, Verse 2, it says they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So yeah, and they can take away, people's lands. They can take away your houses, They oppress us, Since we've been over here in America, we've been oppressed, because this system is unjust. That's why they say, they take away, houses and, fields, by violence, because that's what they do. That's Esau Edom's only answer, especially if someone doesn't want to comply with them. Violence is the only answer for him, I'm going to jump down to verse 10, because this is just a reminder for us that, why we have to leave America, why we need our Lord Yahweh Shai to come back and deliver us. It says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you even with the sword destruction. And yes, it will, If we don't depart from this place, it's going to destroy us, even spiritually, if we don't come out this place, For those of our people, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel that are still in the world, they're going to be destroyed because this place is polluted. The earth is polluted, I'm going to jump to Slakia, the book of Psalms, chapter 73. In verse 5, it says, for they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. And yes, they're not in trouble as other men. So pretty much that's why, those guys are only getting 10 to 20 years maximum. That's the max, But meanwhile, a so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American that will commit, a simple crime or commit the same crime as Esau, they'll get a much harsher sentence. Because again, they're not in trouble like other men, If we get in trouble for something, this man is gonna, throw the book at us. But if one of their people get in trouble, they're gonna give them a slap on the wrist or just probation, something like that, This man is wicked. He has to go. He is the wicked, So all I wanted to bring out on that. And then this, let me see. And I want to go into this as well, because the missile strike took place over in Russia, or Ukraine, Slovakia, yesterday, the missile strike took place in Ukraine. And I'm not sure. Let me see if it'll play this video. And as you can see, that's pretty much the aftermath of that missile strike that took place in the Ukrainian city of Chernihiv, I think that's how you pronounce it, says 7 people, including a 6-year-old, were killed and 90 wounded when a Russian missile struck a central square in the historic northern Ukrainian city of Slovakia, said when a Russian missile struck a central square in the historic northern Ukrainian city of Chernihiv. The Interior Ministry said Saturday. People had been on their way to church to celebrate a religious holiday when the strike took place, the ministry said, adding 12 of the wounded were children and 10 officers. It says a Russian missile hit right in the center of the city in our Chernihiv, a square. The Polytechnic University of Theater President Vladimir Zelensky, who was on a working visit to Sweden, posted on Telegram. An ordinary Saturday, which Russia turned into a day of pain and loss, he added. So pretty much, again, this is just, clips or photos of the damage, because again, war is in the air right now. World War III is vastly approaching, and a lot of people are still unaware of that, But again, before World War III happens, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID micro CHIP, has to be implemented, People have to receive this man's mark before World War III happens. Says a short video accompanying Zelensky's post showed debris scattered across a square in front of other regional drama theater where parked cars were heavily damaged. The video also briefly showed a body slouched inside a car. Chernihiv is a city of leafy boulevards and centuries-old churches, about 145 kilometers, 90 miles north of the capital, Kyiv or Kyiv. The Interior Ministry said the roof of the drama theater had been destroyed in the strike. Says Russia has attacked Ukrainian cities far from the front lines with missiles and drones as part of the invasion it launched in February of last year. Kyiv's Air Force said early on Saturday the Ukrainian military had shot down 15 out of 17 Iranian-made Shahed drones launched by Moscow in an overnight strike. So yes, pretty much again, Russia isn't going to stop, Russia is not going to stop. World War III is on the way. The war drums are being beaten, This is a very, very serious thing, Now, I'm going to go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 38. I'm going to start at verse 1, and it says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord, power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company of bucklers, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself and all thy company, that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So pretty much again, Russia's going to be a guard unto its allies, because ultimately this war is going to end up, being Russia versus the United States, That's ultimately what's going to happen. Something is going to take place to where, the United States is going to have to step in to defend its allies, So I'm going to bring that out. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 20. It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. It says, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry of the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Yeah, and verse 22 as well, and it says, behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. So pretty much, again, something is going to take place to where these nations, these smaller nations are going to end up getting into it to drag Russia and the United States, into it to ultimately go to war. Because as we know, it's prophesied that America, aka Babylon the Great, will be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. There's no getting around that. Babylon has to be destroyed in order for it to be peace throughout the earth, So, I'm going to go to the book of Revelation. Chapter 17, I'm going to start at 1. And it says the doom of Babylon, because Babylon is doomed, because not only the missiles, are going to destroy America when our Lord Yahushua returns, with the angels, they're also going to aid in destroying America, says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And it says, upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So yes, America is Babylon, America is Mystery Babylon, and is going to be destroyed. So, before I continue, before I grab that, I'm just going to finish. And this, I'm going to jump down to verse 14, Revelation 17 and 14 says victory for the Lamb, because pretty much when our Lord Yahushua returns, he's going to defeat these other nations. Pretty much the war is already won, He won already. it's written that the Lord will come back and take these other nations and America down all at once, primarily Esau, Edom. He's going to destroy this man and his system and ultimately destroy America. America is going to be the only land that's going to be left completely desolate after this Third World War. Says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called chosen. It's lucky, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful, going into the elect, because again, the elect of the nation of Israel is going to be delivered from this destruction. It won't be like the time of ancient Egypt when, the entire nation of Israel was delivered from Egypt out of the hand of Pharaoh. Is only going to be a remnant that's going to survive, because again, 2/3 of the nation of Israel have to die, and be brought back. Verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, because again, there are many different nations. Here in America, they say America is a melting pot, That's why you have, this is just an example, like in New York, you have Chinatown, and certain places you might have Little Italy, or Little Poland, just examples, you have these different nations that are all over here, Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And yes, the 10 horns are going into those 10 nations, that America is allies with. Ultimately, all of America's allies are going to turn on her, and they're going to shoot their missiles over here as well. Now you do have various parts of the world that are going to get hit with missiles. Where exactly, I'm not sure. But I know for sure that, our land, the land of Israel, will be hit, because our land has to be cleansed, because, Amalek is over there, and I'm going to grab that as well, but ultimately, not only is Russia, and its allies, America's allies are going to turn on her and shoot their missiles, So this land is going to get hit with 200 million missiles, This destruction is going to be great. It's going to be extremely devastating, because there is no escaping, nuclear missiles. It even states that, once these missiles are launched, no one is going to be able to escape. The only way to escape is by way of a chariot, being delivered, going up, You can't hide underground. You can't do anything, No one's going to escape. So I'm going to grab this. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 137. And I'm going to start at 7. It says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. This is the point, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone. So pretty much the same way, Esau, Edom afflicted us, we're going to afflict him, because America is, America deserves to be destroyed, for the wickedness that this man has done in this land and even other lands. But once this man is taken down, like it says, we're going to dash their little ones against the stone. So the same things they did to us, we're going to do to them, minus, the buck breaking. We're not going to do anything, unlawful once we get them in the kingdom, but everything that we do to them is going to be righteous, so. And then, this is the reason why our land has to be cleansed. It's the book of, or one reason why our land has to be cleansed is the book of Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 6. And it says, a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. So yes, you have the tribe of Amalek, which is the so-called, little hat people, the you-wish people over there in our land, who are not the Israelites. They are not our people. They are not the Lord's chosen people, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the 12 tribes. They are the Lord's people. They are the true children of Israel, not those little hat people, So, and then I brought this out, in my past couple videos. But again, this is real, This book of Joel chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloominess, and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it. Even to the years of many generations, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. And again, it's talking about those missiles. Once these missiles are launched, anyone that is left on the soils of America is going to be destroyed. That's why, Lord willing, we're a part of the elect. Lord willing, we make it. Because again, this destruction is going to be devastating. Those missiles are going to burn hotter than the sun. The sun is 15 million degrees Celsius. These missiles are going to burn at 100 million degrees Celsius. So people are literally going to be melted. They're going to be vaporized, But it's not going to be a quick death. It's going to be slow, And this is pretty much, why we have to get out of here. This land is not our rest, So that's pretty much all I got. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I say shalom.